Released by Square Enix in 2007 on the Nintendo DS, Final Fantasy XII Revenant Wings would be a direct sequel to Final Fantasy XII. Written and directed by Motomu Toriyama, who also directed Final Fantasy X-2 and the 13 trilogy, the game would expand the world and lore for Ivalice, as well as introduce a new race of winged humans called the Agel. For story, the game features the return of Vaughn, as he is joined by 9 other characters, many being returning characters from the first game, though only 5 can be fielded in battle. For gameplay, the game features an overworld map, where hubs can be visited and missions and side quests can be selected to enter a battle. For combat, the game is primarily a point-and-click real-time strategy game, wherein each party member may summon and command a unit of familiar monsters and espers. A simplified version of the Gambit system returns, allowing the player to tweak AI, though stats and abilities are now gained through traditional leveling. The story only gets larger from here, so let's cut it down to size with a recapitation. The game begins 1 year after the events of Final Fantasy XII, as Vaughn, now a sky pirate with his own ship, alongside Penelo, his childhood friend and pirate companion, visit the Galbados ruins. They meet up with their old allies Balthier and Fran, who lead them to a unique pair of crystals called the Cache of Galbados. Before they can examine the treasure, the Eidolon Ifrit suddenly materializes before them, ready to attack, and Fran is suddenly shaken by an odd fluctuation in the mist. After teaming up to defeat it, Balthier recounts a legend of how the treasure is connected to the Eternal, but Vaughn is not familiar with that term, which disappoints Balthier. Splitting the Take Justice once as a gift to the fledgling pirate, Balthier warns Vaughn not to let the things he owns own him, as they all flee the ruins that suddenly collapse around them. Hurrying outside, the destruction follows, as their Moogle mechanic Nono hurries them over, and Vaughn is distraught to see his new airship suddenly be claimed by the landslide. Pretending to shrug off their terrible loss, Vaughn claims they'll get another airship, as for now they return to Rabanastre to their old home in the slums. They speak with their friends Tamaj, Philo, and Kites, who all lament the lost opportunity for adventure, when Vaughn comes in stating an unusual airship has now come in. He shares the legend of the lost sky continent Pervama, and wonders if it might be connected somehow. Showing them outside, they see the strange ship drifting through the sky, and Penelo notes Vaughn's trouble-seeking face. Taking Kites, who is talented with magic, and Philo, who is adept with a flying hoverboard, Vaughn leads them to the derelict ship, intending to steal it before anyone else. Once inside, they notice a strange panel summoning the monsters getting in their way, though when they get close, they notice the stone from the ruins resonating with it. By attuning it to his own stone, Vaughn finds he can use the summoning gate and conjure friendly espers to do battle for him. Meanwhile, Penelo and Tamaj are not far behind, finding a wounded guard outside the derelict ship and wondering if Vaughn committed the assault. Within, Vaughn is ambushed by an old foe and Bonga headhunter Bagamnan, who also intends to steal this ship. Choosing not to fight, Philo and Kites flee from the gang of Bonga, forcing Vaughn to follow them. Bagamnan orders his gang to give chase, but they openly state there's no point or coin in chasing after a bunch of children, but do so anyway, stating to Vaughn they're actually thinking about leaving headhunting after this fight. Turning the tables with the summoning gate, Vaughn's team wins, but soon after the ship rumbles as it begins to move, and though Penelo and Tamaj catch up, the entire ship lifts off on its own. As it takes them to their next adventure, rubble crumbles off as the ship picks up speed, a pair of wings unfold and stretch out, and the ship blasts off to an unknown land. Passing through a strange golden mist, the group sees a new skyland come into view. First things first, Vaughn claims the ship as his own, with the group here as his pirate crew, naming the ship the Galbana. Feeling the land before them as the legendary Lost Continent, Vaughn is eager to explore, though Penelo urges their new recruits to reflect on what it means to each of them to be a sky pirate, as it isn't all fun and games. While exploring, Penelo quickly spots a wingman being assaulted by monsters, and they opt to rescue him, and afterwards he introduces himself as Liud, explaining they are on Lemures, a land of his people, the Agel. He thanks them, but upon seeing they are sky pirates, he informs them sky pirates in general are part of the problem, as they suddenly began besieging this land and rallying up the Yari. Before, Lemures has been isolated and protected by a magic barrier, but the recent rush of mist from below has broken the barrier and allowed outsiders to trespass. To themselves, Vaughn and Penelo wonder if the explosion of the Sun Crystal a while ago may have been the cause of the sudden rush of mist. Regardless, intent to clear up some of the ill will against sky pirates, Vaughn offers to help him get rid of the other pirates menacing them. Leading them to other sky pirates, they learn that what the Agel called Yari is what they call espers, and they are formed from the power of Auracite. Unfortunately, this Auracite is also why sky pirates are here to begin with. They soon learn the god of Lemures is called the Eternal, and the Yari are to be their sword called over from the realm of illusion. However, while it's obvious the treasure they gained in Galbados is one such Auracite, Liud senses something even greater from it, and wonders why it was hidden in a ruin on the surface. Picking up the Oricite from the defeated pirates, they note that alongside a special ring Liud gives them, they can forge a new pact with even more Yari, increasing the ranks of their summoned army. Figuring the leader of the bandits is seeking the main Oricite room, they head there next, though fall into a trap that locks them in a room against the mighty Titan. Losing this fight, Begamnon surprisingly comes in to save them, and with Tamaj alongside, it's revealed Tamaj affixes a sort of collar on Begamnon that forces him to begrudgingly obey Tamaj. The burly headhunter is sicked against the mighty Esper, and is able to hold his own against him, evening the odds and allowing the team to defeat the colossal foe. Finding and defeating the bandit leaders, they claim they work for and got the Oricite from a lady called the Judge of Wings. As it turns out, she's also the one who broke the barrier protecting Lemures and plans to invade Ivalice. Finally, they were sent to this temple for a massive Oricite crystal called an Aurolith, but didn't find one here. Back on the ship, Liud explains the Auroliths are 3 massive crystals that are the root of the power that sustains their world. He shares that thousands of years ago, Fail Thanos the Eternal created Lemures, and then used the Auroliths to raise the barrier protecting it. He lives till even today, protecting the land here, and Penelo recalls how Balthier mentioned the Eternal back in the Globados ruin. Seeing now that the Judge of Wings seeks to either defeat or replace the Eternal, Vaughn isn't a fan of another person trying to become a god, and so makes protection of the Auroliths their next priority. As they head to the next Aurolith that Liud is aware of, they come across more sky pirates assaulting and killing Agel. Rescuing who they can, they offer shelter to the Agel in their ship for the time being. Making it to the temple where the pirates are also seeking the Aurolith, they find a strange device targeting the Aurolith and damaging it. Suddenly, a heavily armored figure approaches them, speaking to all of them within their minds. She recognizes their strength and offers to hire them, but when they refuse, she notes their reminder of a recent sky pirate, showing them in memory of her encounter with Balthier earlier, who also refused but was beaten down for it. She moves to the strange device, and shows that she also has a unique cache of Globados. The Aurolith shatters, and she quickly absorbs most of its astral power into her crystal before taking her leave. Liud is devastated at this loss, though Vaughn is now firmly focused on pursuing the Judge of Wings. While leaving the temple, Begamnon's old crew ambushes them, revealing they quit working for him and now work for the Judge of Wings. Hardly slowed down by this, the group works on another lead to the next Aurolith adjacent to the Sky Sea, and in the meanwhile, Tamaj constructs an entire bazaar within the Galbana, including introducing an artificer named Kushi that can craft for the group. Making it to the port town of the Sky Sea, Vaughn is surprised to run into old allies, Rickon, Elza, and Raz, who oppose the philosophy of the Judge of Wings, as she forces pirates to sell out and forget what they used to stand for. They catch word of a temple under the Sky Sea and investigate, though Begamnon breaks free of his controlling muzzle, and not only beats down his old crew but kidnaps Philo before fleeing. Teaming up with Rickon to take him down, they defeat Begamnon and allow Rickon to claim the bounty on him. Suddenly, a mental assault grips all but Liud, and Vaughn thinks it's the Judge of Wings is doing nearby. Heading further in, they do not find an Aurolith, but instead a massive Oricite. Unfortunately, they are too late to stop the Judge of Wings from summoning Bahamut, who streaks into the sky above and then crashes down into the Sky Sea, splitting the land asunder and destroying the entire island, sending the Galbana and crew crashing down. Now stranded on an unknown island, Vaughn is frustrated at such a massive loss, but must now focus on repairing his ship and surviving until then. As they explore their surroundings, they find a wounded man in the middle of the jungle and treat him at their camp. The mysterious man thanks them and introduces himself as Velis, though Vaughn is very quick to notice and disapprove of the special attention Penelo and Velis are giving to each other. He claims he's looking for his lover, a Viera named Midia, ever since they were separated when he was in Albina when it fell. Still, as the others notice how jealous Vaughn is becoming, Velis pulls Penelo aside and reveals to her he's actually a ghost, and though the rest of the group doesn't believe her, they are suddenly gripped by another mental attack, in which they see the Judge of Wings beseech Fail Thanos' power, and Velis suddenly appears. She embraces him, but then casts him away, proclaiming him not to be Velis after all. On cue, the Judge of Wings walks into the camp, and connecting the dots, Penelo concludes the Judge's real name to be Midia, and coming in, Velis urges her to stop. Turning to him, the Judge of Wings takes out her crystal and transforms Velis' anima into that of the Esper Odin, and turns him against the group. Though they defeat him, a despairing Penelo refuses to allow Vaughn to finish him, but Liud obliges, mentioning the Judge of Wings was right that the Agel are heartless and without emotion. As she grieves for Velis, Liud asks her to dance for him like she did to cheer up Velis, and it gets a chuckle out of him. However, Vaughn then wonders if being in Lemures simply makes one not care instead of not feel, as he notes the same effect has been happening to the Sky Pirates here as well. At this time, Tamaj comes in to mention the Galbana is finally fixed and ready to fly, and better yet, he believes he spotted Balthier's ship, the Straw. Back on the ship, the group tries to piece together what they already know, in that the Judge of Wings is Midia, who seeked out the cache of Globados for its connection to the Eternal, most likely to resurrect her dead lover, Velis. After all, if there was a way to make people live forever, there may have been a way to bring back the dead. Since that didn't work out, it seems she is now bent on revenge and is now seeking to destroy the Aurelists and potentially invade Ivalice. Spotting the Strahl, they are glad to see Fran there alive and well, though curiously separated from Balthier without explaining why. She joins the group and guides them to Balthier, while warning them not to become too dependent on their Auricide summons. Journeying up a mountain, they are surprised not only to find an Aurolith within, but Balthier facing off against the Judge of Wings. Backing him up to drive away the judge, Balthier then astonishes everyone by moving to destroy the Aurolith, and to make things worse, Agamemnon arrives, intent to exact his revenge on the lot of them. Caught in a three-way standoff, Vaughn struggles to hold off the Banga and his old friend, but succeeds in suppressing them both. Giving him a chance to explain himself, Balthier simply states he agrees the Angel must be saved, and that is precisely why the Aurolists must go. Balthier succeeds in shattering the crystal, and again a wave of energy knocks them all out. Waking up, Vaughn finds himself on the Isle of Illusions, separated from everyone else, though Liud recognizes this as the land beyond the summoning gates where the Yari come from. As they reunite, they each take time to reflect on themselves, especially Penelo, who realizes how deeply she cares for Vaughn. As Vaughn reappears before her and the others, their feelings reach each other, and they meet up with the others and leave hand in hand. Vaughn openly states how much he wants to believe in Balthier, but cannot forgive him for his recent actions. Still, he intends to give him the benefit of the doubt, and gives him a chance to further explain himself. As the group explores further, a gentle voice speaks out to them all, and it's Velis greeting them to this realm, and explaining he is an illusion born of Midia's anima, which makes him no different from any other Esper. To free him from this fate, the group agrees to defeat him here, and Velis explains more that this world is actually created by the Aurolists, and made real by the stolen anima of the Angel. In fact, to summon the Yari, you lose a piece of your anima to the stone as it makes the summon. Do it long enough and you will have nothing left and suffer the same fate as the emotionless Angel. He reveals how when he was summoned, Fail Thanos claimed the normally kind-hearted Midia's anima as a deliberate ploy to have her lose the last of her emotions, even knowing Velis would not be complete as a summon. For ages, Fail Thanos has used the Aurolith to harvest the anima of the Angel and keep it here in the world of illusion. Thus, if Velis were to be destroyed, Midia might regain some of her lost anima. But more than that, he wants them to free all of the Yari from Fail Thanos' control. Through Midia, Fail Thanos is gathering the power of the anima collected in the Aurolist in order to further his campaign to conquer Ivalice below. Thus, they must reach the Aurolith before Midia does and destroy it, ensuring the anima is instead freed. In fact, because Balthier destroyed this second Aurolith in the manner he had, is the only reason Velis is able to talk to them in the manner he is. However, the final Aurolith is in the Keep of Forgotten Time, at the seat of Fail Thanos' power. If they shatter that crystal and then defeat Fail Thanos himself, all of the stolen anima from the Yari, Angel, and even Midia will be restored. Unfortunately, only Midia knows where that keep is, and to help them with his mission, Velis and the nearby Yari transform their anima into a powerful blade for Vaughn to wield. Waking up again, they find themselves back on the Galbana, where they are surprised to find Nono here and Balthier as well. As they meet up on the bridge, Vaughn punches Balthier, mad about the pirate probably knowing all of this would happen since the beginning, and not telling him everything. However, Balthier and Fran point out that was the whole point, in order for Vaughn and Penelo to grow up on their own. However, before they can discuss it further, Tamaj alerts them that the Galbana has been surrounded. Going outside, they see a few Angel have regained their anima, and in their raw emotional state are attacking the ship. Balthier again warns Vaughn not to rely too much on the summons, while the Angel personally view Liud as a traitor and heretic for wanting to fight Fail Thanos. Fending off their invaders, Balthier and Fran lament how the legacy of Ivalice's self-proclaimed gods still persists, and through a scripture they learned it was in defiance of the Acuria that the Angel fled to the skies and raised a barrier to begin with. Vaughn and Penelo also catch up the pair on what they learned about Midia and Velis, and though they decide to seek Midia next, Tamaj now informs them a fleet of ships from Ivalice is approaching, including Queen Ash's flagship in Leviathan. As they move out to greet their old allies Bosch and Ash on their ship, Ash is quick to keep things on topic. All over Ivalice, sky pirates are using stones to summon beasts and wreak havoc, and she wants their help in controlling and understanding the situation. Joining forces, the old crew is back together, and going down to Damascus Esterlands, they see their old ally Larsa, who has been gathering information. United in their mission to find and stop the Judge of Wings, Larsa shares where she has last been spotted. They learn Midia is a fair-skinned, short-eared, blonde-haired Viera, and Fran reveals she is part of a different tribe of Viera called the Exiled, long thought dead, so Midia must be among the last of her kind. Returning back to the Globados ruins for clues, they find a hidden room they missed before, and find where Midia got her crystal, alongside a note from Fail Thanos, who once took a Viera as his wife and left these crystals as gifts for his children, the Exiled. Kites points out the Galbana came on its own when they first took the cache for the express purpose of likely delivering his family to Lemuraze. When they find a memorial to those fallen in Albina, they spot Velus's name there and think Midia's grudge against all of Evil East stems from this. They discover a hidden village of the daughters of Fail Thanos, the Fail Viera, but are horrified to walk into Midia already there, slaughtering the last of her race. Clashing with her, the full force of the whole team manages to strike her down and shatter her signature armor. As she falls, Balthier is convinced she let them win, and she admits only in death are she and her people free from Fail Thanos' control. She shares a memory of hers when she was young when her mother told her one day they would all live among the clouds, but impatient, Midia left the village, met Velus and fell in love, and grieved as the war claimed him. In her loneliness is when she sought the legends of her people to seek the cache and the Eternal. She then surprises everyone by revealing Fail Thanos is actually the former leader of the Angel, and he is bound by a magic that grants him eternal life. Dying, she asks that they also free him from his suffering of life without anima, and disappears as well. To find Fail Thanos, Liud senses Midia's anima and suggests they follow it. Reaching the gates of Shattered Time, they find the bound anima of Angel warriors of the past are now ghosts that are forced to battle and protect this land. Fighting past them to a massive throne room, they spot an Angel on the throne they can only assume is Fail Thanos. As he walks past them, he admits he's been trapped here for so long he's forgotten why he fights. Donning the Judge of Wings armor, he reveals countless bodies of Angel that are simply part of the cycle of fighting against Yari, which are ironically formed from the anima of their fallen ancestors, all in an engine to fuel Fail Thanos' need for more anima. By taking their anima, he eliminates their feelings of anger or sorrow, and so they can live in peace in the sky as he always intended. Vaughn counters that this isn't solving their problems, but is simply running away from them, and Liu disavows any reverence he held for their former god, and stands ready to fight. Clashing with Fail Thanos, they stand their ground after one duel, while still demanding he release all of the Angel's anima. Instead, he fires a burst of energy out towards Vaughn to claim his anima instead, who is pushed aside by Liu at the last minute who takes the hit. Fail Thanos repeats that the Angel are bled dry of anima and simply walks away, as Liud doesn't move, but he halts as the will of Liud struggles within Fail Thanos. The group now sees another memory involuntarily come out, in which he leaves behind the cache while lamenting how he must leave his wife and child behind, as they cannot live in the sky just yet. Imbuing the Auracite with his own anima, he meant for it to be a link between him and his family, but returning to the present, he dismisses the memories and fades away as Fran believes this was not his true body. Fortunately, Liud stirs and gets back up, but at the cost of his anima again, though Vaughn swears to recover it once more. Moving beyond the throne room, they now see that Fail Thanos is the final Orolith, collecting anima until he became a crystal himself bearing dark Revenant Wings. He speaks to them all, stating that this course of events was not caused by him, but the gods of Evil East, and what he has done is for revenge against the Ikuria. The group can understand defying the schemes of the Ikuria, but that still does not justify what he has done against his own people, as he has essentially destroyed the people he wanted to protect. Fail Thanos is unconvinced, viewing anima still as a tool for his own use, bringing forth the anima of Midia for them to fight once more. Dispelling that, the group points out that if he can still hate and be vengeful, then that means his own anima isn't lost yet. As Fail Thanos powers up to an ascended form, the group steels themselves to fight and take down the misguided king who doomed his people with the best intentions. Defeated, Fail Thanos drops to one knee and speaks to them all, first declaring Liud the next leader of the Angel, while returning his anima back and asking him to never forget their dream of the sky. Finally thanking Vaughn for not giving up hope, Fail Thanos flies up as his anima slowly fades. As the castle now begins to crumble, the group notes the Yari are now returning to anima again, and Liud notes that without the Orolith, Lemuraze will fall. Still, with the Angel's wings and the world's airships, there is no reason they won't find a place in the sky to live still. As the game ends, Vaughn returns the Galbana to its rightful owners, the people of Lemuraze, and waves goodbye to his new friends as the lost Sky Islands now fall from the sky. The group returns to their separate lives, though Vaughn and Penelo embrace their new relationship as a couple. As they move to their next adventure on their own, their new allies Kites, Philo, Tomaj, and Kushi are eager to continue their Sky Pirate lives as a crew together as they hurry to a bright future. Final Fantasy XII Revenant Wings has enjoyed the success of selling over 1 million copies worldwide.